And when I'm on the road to the office or the crib, it's Big Zeus, St. Jude, the ones I wanna hear. This is that 2-hour lunch break live from Lady Bird J. Lay.
Coming to you live, putting on for they see.
This is that 2-hour lunch break live from Lady Bird J. Lay. And we back, and we back. Zeus P, St. Jude. Let the light in, man. It's the 2-hour lunch break, dog. I'm locked in. So turn your speakers up a notch and grab the white gin. And when I'm on the road to the office or the crib, it's Big Zeus, St. Jude, the ones I wanna hear. This is that 2-hour lunch break live from Lady Bird J. Lay.
Coming to you live, putting on for they see.
This is that 2-hour lunch break live from Lady Bird J. Lay. And we back, and we back. Zeus P, St. Jude. Let the light in, man. It's the 2-hour lunch break, dog. I'm locked in. So turn your speakers up a notch and grab the white gin. And when I'm on the road to the office or the crib, it's Big Zeus, St. Jude, the ones I wanna hear. This is that 2-hour lunch break live from Lady Bird J. Lay.
Coming to you live, putting on for they see.
This is that 2-hour lunch break live from Lady Bird J. Lay. And we back, and we back. Zeus P, St. Jude. Let the light in, man. It's the 2-hour lunch break, dog. I'm locked in. So turn your speakers up a notch and grab the white gin. And when I'm on the road to the office or the crib, it's Big Zeus, St. Jude, the ones I wanna hear. This is that 2-hour lunch break live from Lady Bird J. Lay.
Coming to you live, putting on for they see.
This is that 2-hour lunch break live from Lady Bird J. Lay. And we back, and we back. Zeus P, St. Jude. Let the light in, man. It's the 2-hour lunch break, dog. I'm locked in. So turn your speakers up a notch and grab the white gin. And when I'm on the road to the office or the crib, it's Big Zeus, St. Jude, the ones I wanna hear. This is that 2-hour lunch break live from Lady Bird J. Lay.
Coming to you live, putting on for they see.
This is that 2-hour lunch break live from Lady Bird J.
And today is podcast day. Super excited for the live today. I am. How about you? What's going on, Austin? Welcome back to another live episode of the 1-hour news break, brought to you by the 2-hour lunch break podcast. I am your co-host, Saint, one half of the 2-hour lunch break podcast, and I am thrilled to be in the heart of Eastside Austin. Today is Tuesday, June the 18th, and we have a fantastic episode prepared for you today.
Say, before we dive in, man, I'm Try with Zeus, the other half of the 2-hour lunch break podcast. And starting off, a huge shout out to our sponsors, DAWA Studios and Austin Public Channel 10, for making this live podcast possible. Thanks to them, we're able to bring this special experience today.
Yeah. So as you already know, here at the 2-hour lunch break podcast, we're here to amplify the voices of the Black and brown entrepreneurs and artists in our city. Our slogan is always saying a podcast from Austin, for Austin, shared with you around the world. We're here highlighting amazing talent and stories that makes this city so unique.
Now, today, we're mixing it up a bit. I know we usually do the interviews, but it's just me and the homie Saint, discussing all the latest events and in Austin and across the nation. We're here to share our perspectives on current events, local news, and everything in between.
So sit back, get comfortable, grab a snack, dive in, and let's get engaged to the conversation. But remember, be sure to catch us on all episodes and all streaming platforms. You can find us on Instagram at 2HLBpod and on X at the 2-hour lunch break. Let's get into it.
Yeah, tap in.
How you doing, man?
Good, man.
Mental health check.
Right. Mental health wise.
Yeah.
I'm doing pretty good. I know we kind of talked off air.
Yeah.
Had a certain diagnosis a couple months ago.
Yes.
Getting that handled. And I'm in a lot better space mentally.
Beautiful.
Ever since I've gotten that taken care of, man, I'm feeling good. My anxiety is low.
Good.
All that, you know, so it feels amazing to be in that space, man. How about you?
Man, doing well, man. Just excited for the day, excited for the week. Had some really good meetings today, so super pumped about that. But man, just really excited today just to have a conversation and talk. Man.
Right.
I don't know. Today, out of all the days, we've been really like yeah, let's get into it. Let's
Right.
get into it.
Right.
Let's get into it. So I'm really excited to have a conversation today. Speaking of which,
Okay.
if for those who have viewed us or watched the show in the past, today is the final day to submit for Austin Live Music Fund.
Yes.
We've posted that earlier in the past, but definitely want to talk about that. So just want to give you some backgrounds and details to the Austin Live Music Fund, some of the great initiatives that are going on within the city of Austin that we think you all should know about. So the program offers grants of $15,000 or $30,000 for professional Austin musicians, bands, and independent producers. There are also $30,000 or $60,000 grants available for live music venues. The money is meant to support eligible music activities according to a release from the city. So for those who do not know about the city Austin Live Music Fund, it is a grant that provides opportunity for these core 3 bases and core 3 locations. Those 3 locations, again, for those who are curious or want to know, Austin musicians, bands, or independent promoters. So you have to fall within those 3 categories to fit. Happy to say that we submitted our proposal, our bid. So we're really excited about that. But we want you all to get out there and do it too. I'm not gonna lie to you, it's not easy work, right? There's a lot of documentation that goes into it. But definitely want to support your brands out there. Definitely want to amplify your brands out there. So I think you should do it. I think you should try to sit down and apply.
So, side note.
Yeah, go for it.
Just like he said.
Yeah.
We competing in there too. So it's the competition is tight.
Right.
You know what I mean? So see who you competing with right now. So if you're gonna do it,
right,
come with your best. Because if not, that's all us. We gonna get that bag.
Right.
You know what I mean? So just want to say that.
No. You real. But no, I think this is gonna really help Austin amplify a lot of their Austin creatives and musicians that are in the city. Reason being is because number one, there's a lot of venues, and we talked about this before, right? Even COVID is still impacting and affecting venues to this day, especially when it comes to the live music scene. But all the people that we've interviewed, we've had the pleasure to interview and sit down and talk to and communicate with, I know they can, utilize these funds to help support, right? Whether it be bringing live new music to the community, whether it be providing a venue or a space where individuals can participate and communicate. What do you think it'll help benefit?
I feel like I think it's a big deal because the thing is we talk about it a lot.
Yeah.
Like the fact that the city of Austin they need to come up off them funds.
Yeah,
we talk about that on a lot of different topics.
Yeah.
And
Very
so
vocal.
in this case, they're actually doing some of that.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
So we can't say you need to run that money. That's what they're doing.
That's what they're doing.
Right.
Yeah.
So they're going out of their way. They're making a concerted effort to foster a lot of the creatives that wouldn't normally have a chance at getting those kinds of funds, right? I mean, you could be a working artist and a $30,000, boost can do wonders for somebody that's just trying to make a living.
Right.
Even if you're not a working artist, even if you're, doing, you're in big business as a promoter or something like that, that can boost, if you got a company, that can boost that. You can hire staff. You have additional funding to pay for whatever projects you're trying to work on. So, I think it's a big deal. I think no matter who it goes to, $30,000 can do a lot.
Yes.
So it's a very big deal.
Yes. And how they relate it and express it, multiple grants will be issued. So I hope we're in that number. God bless.
Fingers
but
crossed.
I want you, fingers crossed, right. But for those who are in that number, make certain that you utilize those funds to the betterment of the city of Austin and live music. I believe you have until 7 p.m. today to submit your application. Make certain that you get on there, submit. It is Austin Live Music Fund. I promise you, if you just Google that, it will literally pop up. And for the person who was in our Instagram comments claiming that the link didn't work, that was user error, dog.
I don't know what you got going on, brother. It's 2024.
That was user error,
We gotta
dog.
tighten up.
That worked. It worked fine.
Now, what I will say is, if we get that,
Yeah.
you're not gonna know.
Yeah. Not
You're
at all.
not gonna say nothing.
Not at all.
but you're gonna start seeing things,
yes, exactly.
right?
Exactly.
You know, like I said, our production is already tight.
Yes.
But it might get a little bit tighter. You know what I mean?
You know what I'm saying?
Production might get bread. You know, shout out to the homie Ever.
You know what I'm saying?
we might hire the homie full time.
Yeah, right.
You know, stuff like that. You'll see some things you won't hear them, but you'll see them.
Little twinkles.
Right.
Little
Just FYI.
Yeah. No, but for sure, I think this is definitely going to be something amazing that we can contribute and give back to our community and our constituents that watch this brand, watch this show, just view our content. I think it's going to be powerful and impactful in a grand scheme of things, in a grand scheme of ways. But I'm really excited, man. Juneteenth is tomorrow, right?
Hey. Shout out Juneteenth.
What are you doing for? Are you relaxing, sitting by the pool? Are you making some freedom burgers? What are you?
Freedom burgers. So I'm actually gonna have a real chill Juneteenth. I got the day off. Shout out to the nonprofit that I work for.
Yep,
they gave us a day off. My daughters are also off from camp as well, so I'm gonna be hanging out with them. Probably run a couple errands, stuff like that. But yeah, it'll be a pretty chill day. I know all the hype, you know, Juneteenth stuff happened this past weekend, so I plan on relaxing, kicking back, and just appreciating the ancestors and all that stuff and everything that experienced, all that just to get me to this point.
Right.
You know what I mean? What about you?
Man, probably same. I didn't even think about it, but I think, you know, there's a lot of things that definitely need to be done around the house, right? But I would really, really enjoy a day to just, you know, let my hair down, chill, like get on the game.
Right.
Get on the game. I got an opportunity to get on there earlier. I was like, oh man, this is flying. This is fire. But had to come here. So you know what I'm saying? Had to do priorities. But yeah.
So I don't mean to interrupt
Yeah,
you,
no,
bro.
no,
So
go, bro.
I'm curious, right?
Yeah.
So I'm an Austin native, born and raised,
Yeah.
right? So I've grown up with Juneteenth always being a thing.
Yeah.
Right? And so I know you're born and raised in Cali.
Yes.
Right? Your wife was from Cali.
Yes.
Right? Growing up, was Juneteenth like a thing?
Yeah.
Back, like for you, like as a kid?
No, it was not.
Okay.
It was not. So when we grew up, did we hear about Juneteenth? Yes. Did we know in depth? No, not at all. I think a lot of those things and a lot of those particulars you kind of had to go searching for,
Right.
if you really wanted to know. And if you're, you know, just a regular kid, like, you know, sometimes you may not. Plus, we were living in a time and a day and age where the internet had just started. Like, we didn't even know what it was meant for or used for. So, like, going to your desktop. Let's start there.
Right, yeah, desktop, the big back computer, a million pounds.
Right. Waiting for AOL to dial up for you.
Yeah.
And then by the time you got on AOL, you was looking at the chat rooms. Like you was trying to have a conversation with people. Like you didn't care about going online to search like, you know, the knowledge of information.
And the thing is, even back then, like in the early, like if you want to go back to like 2000,
Yeah.
it wasn't even like Google. Like you had to go on like AskG,
yeah, you're right.
or something like that. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it was a different internet,
man,
back then than what it is now. So I can see that.
Nah, you preach
I
it
can
right
see
now.
that.
Ask G. Right. That's crazy. Nah, but for real, we but I think for the people who did know and were informed, they participated. But it wasn't really something like it is here in the city of Texas, in the state of Texas. Ooh, sorry. Right. But I think what the biggest thing was, that was probably one of the culture shocks that I experienced when coming out here. Because the first Juneteenth, I was like, well, what is Juneteenth?
Right.
And my instructor looked at me like I was Boo Boo the Fool. And I was like,
You asking that in Texas, the
yeah.
capital city?
Right,
yeah,
right.
They're gonna look at you crazy, bro.
And I was at an HBCU too.
Right.
So he was like, wait, what? Sit down. We need to talk.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. And I mean, I could see that because, I mean, the thing is Juneteenth has been such a, prior to all the federal holiday stuff and everything, Juneteenth has been such a, not even just a Southern thing. It's been a Texas specific holiday. Right? Just because for people that don't know.
Yes.
Right? Juneteenth is a celebration of the announcement in June 19th, 1865 in Galveston, Texas. After the Civil War was basically over. I forgot what's the guy's name. General Gordon Granger.
Okay.
Of the Union Army finally had made it to Galveston, Texas. They announced it at a building called the Aston Villa, which actually still exists.
Okay. Dope.
There's a big balcony if you've ever been to Galveston, at that house. He got up there, announced it to a big crowd of people, and finally, you know, that's when news finally hit in Texas that, you know, for all intents and purposes, slaves were free.
Right.
Because if you look at the context of the times, at that point, Texas was considered like a far-flung backwater.
Right.
Because you got to think Texas had just become a state like 30 years before.
Right.
It's out in the sticks.
Right.
Like when you consider, like, you know, Mississippi and Alabama and Louisiana and all these other like entrenched southern states.
Right.
Texas is basically back over there.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And news traveled differently back then than what it does now. So yeah, it took like once the Emancipation Proclamation hit in 1863, it took 2 years just to get to Texas. So literally the enslaved persons in Texas were working for 2 years, even though they didn't have, like, they were not legally bound to in any kind of way.
Wow.
So yeah, I think it's a celebration of the, I'm trying to think of the best word, like the legal enforcement.
Okay.
The Emancipation Proclamation.
Yeah.
That's the best way.
Yeah.
To put that.
Yeah.
So of course it's such a Texas centric holiday, and I'm not gonna lie, bro. Being from Texas, right, and growing up with Juneteenth and seeing it as just a us thing, it's kind of wild to see what Juneteenth has become like a national holiday. Like you got boys in Oregon talking about Juneteenth. Like what? Like, you know what I mean? Like Oregon ain't got nothing to do with Texas. And you know, so it's stuff like that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of wild. There are, I will say, there are pros and cons, right? So
Tell me.
on the positive side,
Okay.
as a Texan, I'm very happy that this holiday is being recognized on a national level. The importance, like people are realizing the importance of what that event actually meant.
Yes.
I can appreciate that.
Yes.
Right? But on the other side of that, because of the fact that it's now become a national federal holiday, there are, how can I put this? There are other people that are participating in this holiday that don't really, well, they're benefiting from this holiday that don't really necessarily care or have any like or have any dogs in that fight, right? Like, you know, you got an Italian guy at Poughkeepsie, New York talking about Juneteenth.
Yeah.
Never known a black person in Texas in his life. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And some of it can get a little icky.
I was gonna say I can see that being sticky.
Yeah, it can get a little icky because just like you were saying, bro, like you're coming from Cali, right?
Yeah.
And you're black from Cali.
Right.
And the thing is, a majority of the black people in Cali are from Texas, Louisiana.
Correct.
So there are some roots in there.
Right.
There's some connection to that.
Correct.
Right? So even with that, you didn't really know about it like that until you got to Texas. So imagine somebody that's coming from a different ethnic group, from a different area, from a different, you know, region of the state. You know, you got somebody from Montana that don't know what we talking about.
Yeah, exactly.
And then Juneteenth pops up in like 2022.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's like, what is this?
Right.
And you know that people in Texas have been doing for, you know, 150 something years or whatever, you know, whatever the number is.
Exactly.
And yeah, so I think there are some growing pains with that. People are trying to figure out, like outside groups are trying to figure out how to
navigate that.
Navigate it respectfully. And some are doing well, some are not. I'll say that.
Yeah.
I think it's with that part of it. I think it's gonna take some time.
It's gonna take some time for you.
It's gonna take some time.
Yeah. So I think tell me more as a Texas native, right? You mentioned this before and you kind of echoed this. Do you feel as if it is to their benefit, or are you yielding some type of, you know, Q&A where you're like, it is what it is, not really tripping, and not really concerned? But before you answer, we got a question on the YouTube about the con. And it says, so this is from Meek on YouTube. Meek says, so in the con, the fact that they don't have an idea of what the history is that another thing?
Yep.
I think that would be a very good aspect because I think you also kind of alluded to that as well, right?
Right.
Like it's a benefit and a hop skip to that.
Yeah.
But you like, okay, when did this start? 2002. I'm just finding this out. Oh,
Right.
great! I get an extra holiday off of my work schedule. Wonderful.
Exactly.
Right? And I'm sitting back drinking a beer, chilling, but I don't know why I'm off.
Right. Yeah. The holiday, there's a lot more gravity to that because I know you were talking about 2002. This holiday been happening since 1866.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Like literally the
Right.
year
Yeah.
after it was announced is when it started.
Right.
You know what I mean? And that's been generations and generations and at this point centuries of history tied to that moment into that holiday. And of course, I understand it because I was born into that. Right. So that's innate. It's intrinsic for me. Right. So for somebody that doesn't have that experience, it can, like I said, it can get kind of icky, bro.
Yeah, I think to your point, even I'll even say this: as a black man who had no knowledge of Juneteenth, my first time, and I'll just be 100% vulnerable, hearing about Juneteenth, I was a little apprehensive to celebrate because
Really?
I didn't have any knowledge about it.
Okay.
Because I didn't know the background story of what it was.
Okay,
like
I
I
get
said, one of my teachers, funny enough, history,
Right.
sat down and told me about Juneteenth. I was like, wow, this is crazy.
Yeah.
And I forgot the instructor's name. Man, I wish I knew his name right now. But shout out to HC. You know my heart. But he basically sat me down and explained to me the reasoning and justification behind why this was so relevant and important.
Yeah.
And as you mentioned, individuals being enslaved for 2 years, working hard. And he literally said, how would you feel if you didn't get paid after 2 weeks of work?
Yeah. Free labor.
Free labor. And I was like, oh, nah. And
Right.
he was like, well, 2 years. How
Right.
about that?
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, yeah, no, I'm celebrating.
Yeah.
I'm celebrating every opportunity I get.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, my first year, I was just like, oh, okay, cool. This is dope. This is dope. Y'all, okay, we outside, everybody chilling, everybody
Right.
doing barbecuing, grilling, whatever have you. You know, yeah, it was Dr. Francis. Shout out to Howard in the chat. It was Dr. Francis. But yeah, taught me a little bit about Juneteenth. But I think that's a very good take and interesting thought process.
Yeah. Well, what I will say is, like I said, there are some cons, but I do feel like there is some good to this. The fact that it should have been made a federal holiday years ago.
Yeah.
Right? Because at the end of the day, I mean, it can be looked at as like a black holiday or like Black history, but Black history is American history, bro.
Right.
Like we are part of the fabric of this country. You know what I mean? Like we literally built this country from the ground up.
Right.
You know what I mean? So yes, holidays like this, even though they're just now becoming included into like the national lexicon, this should have happened. It should have happened in 1866 if we gonna keep it a buck.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So yeah, like I was saying, bro, it's gonna be some growing pains. People are trying to get used to like a new holiday. There's gonna be some people that are never gonna accept Juneteenth.
Yeah,
and
no,
we
I
just
agree.
we just gotta keep it real.
Right.
It just is what it is. It's like, oh, is that BLM and
Yeah.
blah 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 blah.
Right,
like that. You know what I mean? Like it's that crowd that's just
Exactly.
not gonna accept it. But there
Exactly.
are gonna be some others that are gonna be like willfully trying to, gain knowledge and figure out what this holiday is about, where did it come from, what's the history behind it. And I can appreciate those people.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
So those people, hey,
Shout out to y'all.
right, shout out to y'all. If y'all got questions, there are some people that are willing to answer those questions. Now, don't get me wrong, don't just go asking just random black people that you don't know stuff. Like don't do that.
It's not one of the can I touch your hair moments?
Right. Yeah. Make sure this is somebody that like and you got that rapport with. Don't just go asking black people like, hey, what's this Juneteenth thing you guys are doing? Like, no, don't do that. Right? Like, let's not do that. But yeah, if you got questions, man, go to somebody that's a trusted person that you have rapport with. And yeah, if you got some questions, man, ask them what June. I mean, even if you don't have a person, Google
Right.
free. Google
Right.
is free.
Google is very
right.
free.
We not talking about G's. We
Yeah,
ain't got
right.
G's no more. That's not a thing no more.
That's not a thing no more.
Right. Get
Google,
on your Googles.
Bing, get on there.
Get on your Googles. Check your Wikipedia. Make sure that Wikipedia article is
Verified,
peer
legit.
reviewed.
Yeah,
right.
peer
Make
reviewed.
sure it's it's verified.
Yeah.
And you can gain knowledge on your own. Like you don't necessarily have to ask somebody for that if you just don't have that option, man. You can we in the age of the internet, man. Look that stuff up.
Yeah,
you
for
know.
sure, for sure.
So yeah, man. But shout out Juneteenth. I'm happy I'm happy we get a chance to do Juneteenth again.
Shout out.
I love the holiday. I feel like this is, I've never worked Juneteenth in my life. I make sure to take off every single year, even before it was a national holiday.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is my holiday for me. This is this feels like a shout out to the ancestors, man. You know what I mean? They went through a lot, they endured a lot, and they are a resilient people, and they're the reason that we're here now today.
No, for sure.
You know what I mean?
Oh, and I got a shout out to Meek in the chat on YouTube. He says, "Hot take: it's a federal holiday, but not treated as such." So, to your point, Juneteenth. He's saying Juneteenth is a federal holiday, but not treated as such. So
yeah, I get that.
Make certain that for all our peoples out there, make sure you take off.
Yeah,
you
take off. Take that day off.
Yeah, that mental health day.
Right? Yeah, it'll be a mental. Yeah, there we
Just
go.
do it.
There we go.
You know what I'm saying? Just like Nike. Man, speaking of Juneteenth, man, let's talk a little bit about some of the events that happened this week, because I know we had a Juneteenth parade downtown Austin, right? And we also had one in Round Rock, right?
Yep.
And we definitely want to give our love and support to the people out in Round Rock for that special situation that happened. You all know what we're talking about,
right?
But let's dive into that a little bit more. What
yeah,
transpired?
man. So of course, like you were saying, it was Juneteenth celebrations all over the city, all over Texas. But there was an incident at Old Settlers Park at the Juneteenth celebration in Round Rock.
Yes.
So apparently, what the story is from newscasters, there were two groups that got into it and gunshots rang out, right? And coming from that, as of now, 2 people have passed away, and I think like 8 people got hit total, right? Yeah. So coming out of that, bro, I'm not gonna lie, because I feel like this holiday has a special meaning for me.
Right.
I was pretty disappointed in those events.
Yeah,
right.
Seeing that. Yeah.
Where are you at with that?
I mean, to your point, it's a moment to fellowship, thrive, appreciate your community, be in the space,
right?
And plus, in the city of Round Rock, shout out to an alum of the show, 1K Spin.
Yeah,
was actually performing at the Round Rock Festival. But yeah, and then actually someone near and dear to me, one of her friends. Brother was one of the individuals who got injured in that experience. So definitely did not expect this.
Right.
Definitely expected just another day. People thriving, the parade happening, good music, good food, and all that great stuff. So I think it's really, really hurtful to even bear witness and finding that out the next morning, you know what I'm saying, on a Sunday when you just thinking that, okay, it's just going to be a relaxed weekend.
Right.
So,
Yeah. I'll be honest, bro, like where I'm at with it, like I said, I was disappointed, but I'm also, it feels kind of eerie. And I say that because I planned on going. Like I was going to be there. Like I was going to be at that
I remember
event.
I hit you, yeah.
And I had some other plans with my daughter that had come up, and so I wasn't able to go.
Yeah.
And had it not been for that, that's where I was going to be. All my cousins was there. All my family was there. I was going to kick it with them for the rest of the evening, all that stuff. And who knows, like, had I gone, and who knows what might have transpired.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you just never know.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's definitely an eerie feeling coming out of that. What I will say in response to, the perpetrators, right? I don't understand why, that would transpire just because of the fact that, one, the holiday means so much, right? And then 2, that kind of event, just like you were saying, man, it's families out there.
Right.
It's kids out there.
Right.
It's a time to, have a good time with your people.
Right.
Dance.
Right.
Sing, get some good food, hang out, just enjoy your family.
Right.
All that stuff. That's the last place you would think, like, hey, it's going to be some problems.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, that's like
safe.
I said.
Yeah.
I was going to go.
Yeah.
Because I figured Juneteenth Festival in Round Rock
right.
is probably the safest place that I can go.
right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, I was going to pull up, all
right.
that stuff, and, like, me and my wife is going to be there most likely, and, yeah, man, that's just the last place that I would think an incident like that would happen.
No, you're absolutely correct, because I'm pretty positive, you probably would have brought your babies. You probably would have just chilled, just been vibing out, and not even that would have been the last thought on your mind, right? When that rang out and when that happened. So again, I think that the people that were there had the same sentiments that we're having right now. Right. I would have never thought in a million years, this would have been something that would have taken place during that time. Right. But I think what's really frustrating also is just, being in that space. Being there, being present, I know that's probably got to be some of the most scariest experiences for those people there,
bro.
So that's why I want to give my thoughts and prayers to those folks.
Yeah, man.
I think it's really, really sad that they took such an amazing event, and now the onus has been identified as this event has cost A, B, and C. Right. So I really, really prayers up to the families. Yeah. In this situation. Yeah. And bro, I don't want to get too respectability politicky. I don't want to do that because that can get nasty. Yeah. But yeah, the optics of that are terrible, dog. I ain't gonna lie, bro. It's come on, bad.
Man.
It's bad.
It's bad. But I don't even want to focus on the perpetrators and all them no more. I forget them. Yeah. Right. I got other words, but we on television.
Yeah, exactly.
So I'm not gonna.
Let's get on a high note. Let's get on a high note.
But what I will say is, before we move on to another topic, man, not shout out, but condolences to the families of the victims that did pass away. Yes. I think it's Miss Lindsay Vicknair and Miss Aura Duke. So condolences to their families. Yes. Their mothers, wives, citizens of the community. From what I could tell, they seemed to be pretty good people, and they did not deserve for something like that to happen, especially at this kind of event, man. So condolences to their families. Prayers to those that are still recovering from their injuries from this incident, man.
Condolences, definitely.
Oh, also, while we're at it, they said police are still investigating the incident. So for anyone asking, they're asking anyone with knowledge or information about the incident to contact Detective Mayo at 512-341-3135 or email rmayo@roundrocktexas.gov. If you got information, that's where you can take it.
Awesome. Yeah, make sure we get these people. Make sure we figure out what's going on. I don't care if they all the way up in Boston.
Right.
Or Dallas.
Get them out of here.
Speaking of Boston and Dallas.
Oh, Lordy.
Oh, my gosh. That was something. Did you get a chance to watch the game?
I didn't even want to watch that manslaughter. I was over it, bro. I was over it, dog.
Oh, my gosh. Your man Tatum that's a special individual right there. Yeah. I got to give a breakdown. I was rooting for Dallas. I'm a LA to my heart and soul, but I was rooting for Dallas because I didn't want the Celtics to get another chip.
Oh, I get that. I completely understand that.
I didn't want it.
I don't want the Celtics or their fans.
Yeah.
Or their fans to get a ring. No.
I didn't want it. Even my boy called me on Friday. He was like, yo, I need you to pray for the Dallas Mavericks to get one. Right. Because they can't afford it. I said, yeah, I got you. Yeah. I said, I appreciate you pulling on my heartstrings, man. But
fam, okay, bro. Yeah. I know it's kind of on topic. Jason Tatum.
Yes.
Why does he keep trying to get a Kobe moment off, bro? Am I tripping?
No, I thought it was just me.
He's been doing that for years. Right. I'm like, I know he like a Kobe acolyte, but I'm like, dog, he keeps trying to do like the moment, like even that what's that moment where Kobe won a ring and then like sat with the trophy? He's trying to do that. Yeah. I'm like, dog.
Well, everybody's trying to mimic that one.
Yeah, but it's obvious though. Yeah. I'm like, please, bro, if you're gonna get a moment, just it's just gonna happen.
Right. Let it organically.
Right.
Let it organically.
It looks
play.
weird, dog. I just had to say that. Bro.
No, I don't think you're wrong. I don't think you're tripping. But I think he's trying to put his staple on history and his staple is going to be winning a ring, winning a
Right.
championship. Like,
Yeah.
that's your staple. Let that be it, and let everything else come organically.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think that was the difference between Kobe. Kobe didn't have to do it. He was
Right.
automatically that every single time.
Mm-hmm.
And even now, rest in peace to one to the greatest. Even now, he is still idolized as that person,
Mm-hmm.
right? Whether you talking about all these other players, whether they're talking about, they're always like, well, you didn't guard Kobe, like you didn't play against Kobe,
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And even the 81 is still like, yo, bro, that's iconic. That's iconic. So if you're gonna do it, you gotta let it happen.
So I'm curious, bro. So now that they won that ring, how do you think the narrative changes around like the Celtics? Well, Jason Tatum and the Celtics overall. Like, what do you think changes for them?
I think what changes for them is, one, that they can do it. Right. Two, that they're actually a good, certain sports they say ball club, but actually a good, solid, formulated team. But I think the B part for me is his face when he didn't make the MVP.
I know he was burning up.
Salty.
I know he was burning up, dog.
He was salty, bro.
Like them games 1 and 2, bro.
Right,
He was
bro.
clanking them.
Right.
You know what I mean? Well, okay. So what I will say is his shooting splits were terrible in game 1 and 2, but he did contribute to other ways. He was playing defense on the perimeter. He's always been a solid defender.
Right.
He was, dishing the ball. I think his assists and rebounds numbers were sky high, bro.
Right.
So he did find other ways to contribute.
Right, he
but
did.
that jumper, bro, was
broke.
falling. And it already looked broke.
Right.
Already. But what I will say is that lead up to that series, he was hooping. Like, he was averaging like 30 leading up to the finals.
Exactly.
I don't know what happened once the conference finals ended and these finals started. His jumper just went down the drain.
Yeah.
But he did everything else.
Yeah.
Right? So had he shot his normal percentage, he would have gotten finals MVP.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Absolutely.
But
Absolutely.
hey, man, Jaylen Brown was balling, bro.
No, but it's just about the level of consistency,
Right?
And it's about the level of contribution back to your team. Now, granted, were you a star-studded event at on the final game? 110%.
Yep.
Can't nobody argue that.
Yep.
But I think that Brown did his job, did his part. I got to give it to him.
He was consistent.
And then shout out to Rocco. Rocco asked another question. He said Tatum or Brown. So I would say in this situation, I agree with the Brown aspect. But as far as if I'm a one-on-one pickup game or 2-on-2, who do I want? I definitely want Tatum. I'm not gonna
man
cap
for
to.
man? Oh,
Yeah.
Tatum all day.
Yeah,
Tatum all day.
Tatum all day.
Yeah, it just in this case,
Yes.
for this series,
Yes. Exactly.
Jaylen Brown got it. He's more consistent.
Yeah, he did way more consistent. Way to give it up. But definitely shout out to the Dallas Mavericks and also shout out to the Boston Celtics.
Right. So, question for you, bro.
Yeah.
What do the Mavericks do coming back? Because what I'll say is, I'm surprised that they did this well in the playoffs. Like, I knew they were solid, right?
Yeah.
Like, but I didn't think that they were gonna get here.
Yes.
And I think a big part of that, Jason Kidd, right?
Yes.
He really because what I'll say is, and I say that because I feel like he kind of put the battery in Kyrie's back a little bit. Kyrie was already a hooper.
Oh, yeah,
I'm
come
not
on.
saying that at all.
Come on.
Kyrie
Yeah,
got
yeah,
rings.
yeah.
Kyrie's honestly, Kyrie is the best below the rim finisher I think we have in our lifetime.
I will agree.
Below the rim.
I will agree with
right?
you.
Like all the spins and the lays
Yeah.
and using the backboard, all that, bro. Like below the rim finisher, I've never seen anything like him.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, they said, I think Shump said that, I guess apparently when Kyrie was growing up, he had holes in his backboard.
Okay.
So that's how he started like playing. But he had so basically our center bank it off the backboard. He didn't have that. So he had to figure out other ways to flip it to get it to go in, which makes perfect sense why he's
I
just
could see
such a
that, bro.
killer.
'Cause he be doing some angles, and
Just
I'm like,
nuts, right?
How is he doing
How
this?
did you even get that right?
Right, and we ain't even got to the handles.
Yeah, no, not at all.
You know what I mean?
Not at all.
So I think Kyrie, when it comes to offense, Kyrie one of them ones. I'm gonna keep it a buck.
Yeah.
But I do feel like for this playoff run, I think Jason Kidd, I think a lot of the values that he instilled this season helped Kyrie out a lot. And also Kyrie kind of got his head right too.
Right,
Because I know he
agree.
was having some issues
I
like last
agree.
season. I know he posted like a weird video and some other stuff,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
he was
yeah.
kind of getting into it with some fans,
Yeah.
and it was just he had a lot happening.
He had a lot happen this season. I
But-
think he could he contributed everything he could.
Right.
Like I don't think we could ever say he didn't put his heart and soul into
Yeah.
trying to win one.
Yeah.
I think what Dallas needs to do, I think they're missing a piece. I don't know what it is, but I think they're missing a piece that they need in order to be successful.
I feel like they need like a 3-and-D wing.
Okay.
A 3-and-D wing, because the thing is they got defense. Like I think they had the top defense in the playoffs. That's
Yeah.
how they got. That's
Yeah,
how they
that's
got
how they
to the
got there.
finals.
That's how they got there.
Right. But what I will say is that their offense is wild stagnant, bro.
Yeah.
Like, cause with Boston, it flows a little bit more like Missoula was coaching, bro.
Yes.
I ain't gonna
Yeah,
lie.
yeah.
Like Missoula got some schemes. So the ball was flowing a lot better on offense for Boston
Mm-hmm.
than it was for Dallas. When it got to Dallas, it was like, show them your
Show me
bag
your-
ISO
Right,
and
right.
do your thing, Kyrie,
Right.
or do your thing, Luka.
Right.
And then what else does everybody else do? Like, do you got your center or your 4 or your 5 waiting on that block, waiting to catch a lob or something, or you know what I mean? I think if they got a 3-and-D, a solid 3-and-D, I think that could, one, get that offense flowing a lot better.
Yeah.
2, and also it adds additional space.
Yeah.
For you on offense.
Right.
You know what I mean? I think that's a piece that could really do a lot for them coming back next season if they retain everybody.
Speaking which of that, in our YouTube live, Rocco Lambda says 2025 go for Paul George, and then he also says we need another option to score and play defense that's not ball dominant. So I think
I like that.
Yeah, he said I like. So I think we got an actual Mavericks fan.
So Paul George is the
Yes,
tip top
yeah.
3-and-D guy you can
like
get.
you talking about. Yeah.
That's the prototype.
Right.
I do like that. Now we'll see, because I think he's actually coming up for free agency.
I think so. So that might be a good
Hey
pickup.
man, Mark Cuban,
Yeah.
he
yeah.
better get on that job.
He said,
You know what I
"Hey."
mean? I don't know what their cap situation is looking like, but
It's Mark Cuban. He gone.
right, Mark Cuban got that bag.
What do you need, bro?
Right.
What do you
So he's notorious for,
Let's
doing
figure
what he
it-
got to do.
Right.
Making the best conditions for his players. So man, if they got
Yeah.
Paul George in Dallas, bro, I
that'll
ain't gonna lie.
That'll be crazy.
Because the thing is just like homie was saying in the comments, he's not ball dominant. He don't need to pat the rock
Nah.
all game
Nah.
to put up 25.
That would be a viable asset.
Woo.
Plus you got them Twin Towers in too with
Yeah.
Luka.
Yeah,
that'll
yeah.
be a viable
Oh,
asset.
man.
I think that'll be
Oh,
beneficial.
bruh.
So shout out, man. I hope y'all get him. I hope y'all get
Man,
him.
hey, I ain't gonna lie, dog. If they get Paul George, I might have to get a Dallas jersey myself. Already, I got a Dallas hat, right? But I might have to go in and invest in me a jersey, bro. I'm not gonna front.
That boy ain't gonna even count.
Right? Yeah, man.
Be
Yeah,
up there with the Dallas flag.
Uh-huh. For real.
That would be hilarious, dog. That would be hilarious, man. So tell us what else is going on in the city of Austin, man.
Okay. Let's talk about education.
Let's
right?
talk about it. Let's talk about it.
Let's see. STAR results, standardized testing for the state.
Yeah.
They came out. They're showing that Austin ISD students are struggling with math post-pandemic. Right. So just came out. Austin ISD as a whole, they were trending upward before the pandemic started.
Okay.
Right. So I'll say that.
Yeah,
so it's
yeah,
not all doom and gloom.
Right.
So Austin ISD students were trending upward in all subjects prior to the pandemic, and of course, when the pandemic hit, everybody took a hit, no matter district, no matter demographic, no matter income. It just was not good education-wise for anybody that had to deal with being at home for months and months and months,
Right.
and not being in a classroom setting. So everybody took a hit. Now, coming out of the pandemic and everybody getting back in the classroom, Austin ISD students have improved in every metric but math, right? So reading, English, history, everything you could think of. But math, for whatever reason, is lacking, right? And they're starting to see, I think what it says, elementary school, middle school, and high school, they continue to follow. They're all following that trend. Austin ISD doesn't really know why. So I think coming out of that, I know there have been some potential there have been some potential rumors of maybe like instituting some additional like tutoring programs for math, some additional, instituting some additional programs for math just to try to, get ahead of it.
Right.
You know what I mean? What I'll say is, so I know I have 2 daughters, right? And they're not in Austin ISD, but they're in the Austin area.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, man, like coming out of the pandemic, bro, like it was rough. Like sitting behind a laptop for hours and hours, it just wasn't where they needed to be.
Yeah.
Right. So now they're good. How did your kids handle the pandemic?
It was challenging. There's nothing to do. We had one that was a sports fanatic, right?
Mm-hmm.
So he was like, "Yo, can I go outside,
right,
and just throw the football to myself in this joint?" Like it was just, it was
out in the yard spinning in circles,
right? Just something. Can I do something? And then also, like, even right now, we have one that's currently going to virtual school for his career, and he's actually struggling with it too. He's in the very, very similar boat, similar vein, and just having difficulties when it comes to just the overall learning experience, right? Also the social interaction. I think we've also talked about this. I think that there are also studies that say, that social interaction helps amplify the overall learning experience. But also in addition to it, just like when you're working, right? Like, I mean, there's positives and negatives when it comes to working remote, right? You definitely get the flexibility, the freedom to do what you need at the time when it comes. But also when you're in the office with others, you can potentially solve problems a little bit faster, right? But also the negative, right? If you guys start getting into, water cooler conversations, the day may flow past you and you ain't done a single thing at work.
Yeah.
So
like remote, it ain't for everybody.
It ain't for everybody.
Right.
It ain't for everybody.
Especially even more so for kids.
Right.
Right. Just because of the fact that with remote, you don't necessarily have that same structure that you would if you were in a school setting. Like when you're in school, your teachers, you go from subject to subject all at one time. Right. You're all in the same physical setting. If you get distracted, your teacher can stand in front of you.
Correct.
And course correct.
Yes.
Right. Versus, if you're wandering off on the screen. Right. You're the teacher's seeing like 18 screens. So it's only so much you can do with that. You know what I mean?
Plus, I think it's also like, now some of those instructors, they're not doing it how they used to, because they used to do actual Zoom meetings, right? So your class was in Zoom, doing Zoom. Right. Now it's more so also like a set curriculum that's electronic that you don't even have to be on screen for. So some of these things that, you can mess around and Google most of the answers and skip past it, right? So do you have a full quality learning experience is a bigger question at hand. But also another question is, is Terrence Howard, tricking the system and giving y'all the mathematics and telling y'all that math 1 times 1 does not equal 1. You know what I'm saying? You gotta, you know what I'm saying? You gotta be aware.
Oh man. Decalcify your pineal, man. You can talk to God through meditation.
Right. What do you think about TH, man? Do you think he has some logic or some reason to his methods or thought process?
I'm gonna have to do a really deep dive because all I got is the clips. That he's posted. Right. So
I gotta be honest. I gotta be honest. So I watched the Joe Rogan joint. Right. After Joe Rogan, I went down the rabbit hole. Okay. He's making a lot of sense. Okay. He's making a lot of sense.
So they said 2 things could be happening with Terrence Howard. One, either Terrence Howard is having a psychological breakdown. Okay. Or
fair argument.
2, Terrence Howard is Neil deGrasse Tyson, and we just didn't know this.
Yeah, no, he's a no. I got to give it to him. Some of the things that he talks about and discusses is very, very clear. He's intelligent. Okay. Right. Beyond what we've thought. Right. Also, in addition to that, I think what is important to highlight and identify is that he has provided some substantial proof and evidence that what he's saying is sound, right? Logical, informative, and creative in a sense.
Right.
Now I did see the response to Neil deGrasse Tyson because I saw that Terrence, called him out on a Joe Rogan joint. So he responded, and he was basically saying, I was giving critiques to basically as if it was a dissertation, right? I was giving my response, and he was like, I got to be honest. Yeah, you provided. He said, like, the first 3 lines basically said, this is not 100% concrete evidence or something like that by Terrence Howard. And basically he was like, yeah, because of that, that's why I critiqued your information.
Gotcha.
With that being said, though, some of the stuff definitely makes sense as far as the planes, as far as the mathematics. And he did one on one particular podcast where he was like square root, this number, times it by 2, then times it by 2, and then he had somebody else do opposite numbers, and it equaled the same thing. And he was like, "That's a mathematical anomaly."
I'm gonna have to check this out, bro.
You got to check it out. You got to deep dive. Go down the look tomorrow. You off?
Yeah,
go down the rabbit hole.
Right.
Let it happen.
Oh man,
let it happen.
Well, while we doing that, let's talk about some upcoming events that's coming up in Austin, right?
Yeah.
So starting out,
yes,
right. We got the homie. Devontae, actually, alum of the podcast. We actually just interviewed him. That interview is going to be coming out soon, so y'all keep an eye out.
Tap in.
He has an event coming up called the Soiree, right?
Fancy.
The Soiree, an evening with Devontae. Powered by Studio 22 Productions and Renee, which is his clothing line. It's going to be an upscale musical experience where Devontae will be headlining with a full live band. I think it's going to be opening acts. It's going to be the homie Jay Mill. It's going to be Javion Jackson, Jeed, and Terrence Leon. It's going to take place at the ballroom at Spider House.
Nice.
It's going to be, I think the event is tailored towards movers and shakers, anybody that's in the city that's going to be making things happen, fashion, entrepreneurs, business people, educators, XYZ, dress code. I think they said cocktail attire at minimum.
Yes.
Right? So
At
if you're
bare.
going, get your fit right.
Yeah.
You got to get tailored up.
Get the hard bottoms.
Right. If
hard
you want to pull up in the, you want to do black tie tux, go ahead and do your thing. I know the homie, he actually hit us with some tickets, so I ain't going to lie. I might have to pull out the Taylor suit. You know what I'm saying? Get right. You know what I'm saying? So keep an eye out for that. I think that is June 28th.
June 28th.
June 28th.
Yes.
Keep an eye out for that, man. Check out the homie, the Soiree, an evening with Devontae. That's gonna be coming up soon, man. What else do we got going on in the city?
As you always know, we always shout out our great spot, Tater Q, on Thursday nights karaoke.
Shout out Tater Q.
Make sure you guys go and attend that. Make sure you grab some food. I'm telling you, Tater Q's food is banging.
Hey, get them wings, man.
The
wings be busting, bro.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
Wings go crazy.
Saturdays brunch starting at 11:30 a.m. $3 mimosas, kid friendly all day, and then of course they got Sunday fun day. Yeah. What else we got?
Also, we got the homies, additional alum of the podcast.
Yes.
Down South Cajun Eats. Of course, they have their usual seafood boil Wednesdays. Anything that come out the water, they got it. Fish,
boom,
lobster,
boom,
crab,
boom,
salmon,
bam,
all of that.
Yeah.
So come out the water, man. If you're looking for some seafood, man, pull up to them. They got the seafood boil happening every single Wednesday. The food is fire, man. We tried it.
Yep.
Tap in with them. Check them out.
Tap in with them. Most importantly, for those who are in the city of Austin, want to know more, definitely check out Young Black Austin on Instagram. Also check out Where Y'all At ATX on Instagram. Also check out Do Not Disturb Collective on Instagram.
6 Square ATX.
6 Square ATX on Instagram. These platforms will provide you with the most happening thing, and then also shout out Black Life ATX as well. These locations will provide you with the most happening things, what's going on in the city, what they're up to, what the city is doing. Most importantly, what is happening in the city in Austin for Black and brown communities.
There we go.
Definitely check it out.
Tap in with them.
Yeah. Well, all right, y'all. Well, that wraps up another session of the 1 hour news break. Thank you so much for tuning in tonight. We really appreciate y'all being here with us. Big shout out to our production behind the boards. He's there. You can't see him. Shout out to Cafe Yodo, production behind the boards, but also shout out to our home base, DAWA Studios here.
You know where to find us. We're streaming on all platforms. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram at 2HLB Pod. That is 2HLB Pod on Instagram.
Yes, sir.
And on X at the 2 Hour Lunch to stay in the loop on all things 2 Hour Lunch Break. Continue to catch us live every Tuesday at 6:30 p.m. on Austin Public Channel 10 and our YouTube page. We got a lot more in store for y'all.
Yes, sir.
Thank you for tuning in. We'll be out.
Peace.
Tap in every Tuesday at 6:30.
Right here. Holla.
Go back up on us. Let's go.
Sexuality, celebrate your body, set your spirit free. Sexuality, celebrate your body, set your spirit free, set your spirit free. Sexuality, celebrate your body, set your spirit free. Let's break it down. Summertime and the living is easy. Fish are jumping and the cotton is high. Your daddy's rich and your mama's good looking. So hush, little baby, don't you cry. I want to go into another one. The Temptations. Josh Peters on the trumpet. Give it up for the Kept That Horn section. in September. Day I always remember. I will. 'Cause that was the day my daddy died. Never had a chance to see him. Only heard nothing but bad things about him. Mama, I'm depending on you to tell me the truth. Hey mama, Papa was a rolling stone. Where the heat at his hat was his home. When he got home, but just let it go. Just